All right, guys, in today's video, got a lot going on. We have a site visit today at 1 o'clock. It's currently 10:30 in the morning on May 20th. And we got a lot going on. It's the middle of the move time for us. We do this every year where we have to offload our warehouse. So a couple things I wanted to cover today while we're in the middle of all these projects is some of the event prep that I'm doing right now, what that looks like, but also do a proper walkthrough of the ambulance. And I have actually filmed this a couple times, and all of the attempts that I have filmed have been terrible. One of them, my camera settings somehow were just awful. So I think what I'm going to do is, well, hope I didn't get this right in the way. I may have. I think what I'm going to do is film what we've done in the ambulance and kind of the thought process behind it. And I brought a mount so I can do that and kind of walk through what we've done in the ambulance. We are so very close to being done with that build. I've got some other things that came in the mail today to finish some of the mounts and the SDI splits. I'm going to do that work and then get on the road to go look at a site. And we actually already have a rather large event going out that day, but I think we're going to be able to squeeze in this other group. We'll see. Got a bunch of bids out, a lot of things happening. Let's get to work. What's up? It's that time. It is time to make a video about the production truck ambulance that we've been working on since winter, and actually all of spring too. We're not that far from coming into summer, so it's been a handful of months and a lot of effort to get to where we are today. And there's still a lot in this ambulance that needs trimmed out, put together to look nice. But everything that's in here at the moment is basically show ready. Pretty excited about the level of detail that we've got in this truck. When I bought this ambulance, as has been said on the channel many times, I bought a bus first. And as you saw in one of our latest updates, the bus is gone. We didn't do in the bus what we have done here in the ambulance. Originally, we were going to build that bus out basically just like this. And I've never built an ambulance before. All of this, in true fashion, is kind of how I do any project, which is it shows up in my mind and I just do it. And if I make a mistake, I fix it along the way. So today, I'm going to walk through basically all the decisions that I made on where to put stuff, what other devices we currently don't have that are going to go in places the best we figured it, and show what this basically is able to do. I got to say, I don't know that it'll happen, but I'm going to put it in this video anyway. We do have a request to quote on a PBR broadcast for professional bull riding down in Filer. And if we go, we don't need an ambulance production truck to go in here, but I really would like to put this through its paces. So I think we would end up taking this down there. And of course, in the state of the ambulance, that means the state of the truck as it is right now, we got a lot to finish up. We got monitors to hang, crap to get out of here. We got tires to put on, 6 of those. So a lot of things happening quickly. I'm excited to finish up some projects on this, but welcome to the official tour of our ambulance production truck and how it currently exists in 2026. So for quite a long time, I have just used the camera audio on my DJI. And today, of course, I'm using my DJI mic. I've had this for quite a while. I just have not used it with this camera, but I'm going to need it for doing actual walkthroughs like this. So hopefully that camera audio quality stays okay. I think I do need to lower the volume a little bit, so I'm going to do that. So I bought this ambulance from a local auction here, and there are some good deals to be had. This ambulance was $1,150, so $1,150. No one was really bidding on this ambulance, and that's not always the case. I mean, a lot of times these things do get bid up, but this one didn't. And part of the reason for that is I did buy this sight unseen. When I got to the ambulance, thank you, plane, for being right here, right now. Oh yeah. When I bought this ambulance, I opened up the coolant, and because this wonderful rig has a 6.0 power stroke, the coolant relief tank was full of oil. And I know what that means. EGR cooler time. Because this is a cabin chassis, what's known as a cutout van, basically, there's no real way to take the box and lift it up off of the deck here. So all of the work that needed to be done on this had to go through the front, and that made this repair really expensive. However, we had the cash to do it. So for $7,000, we replaced the oil cooler, the EGR cooler, and did some other maintenance items while we were in there. We updated it with a blue spring kit and a few other minor upgrades that you should be doing with the 6.0, aside from like APR head studs and other things that make these bulletproof. So we did that work, and it's running great. It cools great. These tires are really the only thing remaining on the ambulance that need attention. They are very, 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 very low on tread, and they also are dry rotting pretty bad. So all that to say, if we actually do a show here in June with this truck, we'll have to do tires and all that stuff soon, but everything else is in great shape. And if you know me, you know that I have to have other things working. So all of those lights up there that are still on the ambulance, they work. I bought a controller off of eBay and wired it in. It's illegal, but it's awesome when it's just parked in front of the shop. So let's go through the tour here real quick. So this side of the ambulance right here is where oxygen was stored. You know, the big tall bottles, the straps and stuff are still in. You can see that we've been doing some work here. And what I'm going to do here in the next week is actually all of this is going out. And the reason for that is we're putting a 50 amp transfer switch and a panel right here. The ambulance already came with a 20 or 15 amp shore power connection. It's just, of course, 20 amp supply, but that's a 15 amp plug. Anyway, we'll put a 50 out there, bring it through this cutaway thing here, and park it into a panel. And this is basically going to be where our shore power and all of our power distribution is managed from right here. Now, the ambulance, of course, has an inverter. It is GFI protected, so it trips a lot of things. So right now I have the plug that feeds the actual box and all the 20 amp inside just sitting out, and I just plug stuff directly to it because right now I am popping that GFI a lot. I'm not pulling a whole lot, but it's enough to make that GFI go. This right here is where the sharps are emptied from. This box here, so up in that is where the dangerous needles and stuff for the ambulance would have been. I'm not sure what we're doing with this box yet, but I am putting a generator down here, mainly for storage. Kind of thinking about doing like an Onan Cummins generator for this. I would prefer to not have to have a gas generator on what is a diesel ambulance. I'd rather have just, one type of fuel with me, not two. So also, if there was any, God forbid, like a wreck or something, I don't want gasoline on board. I'd rather have diesel. Over here on the side, I don't actually know what this was for in the ambulance, but we're going to use this for camera tripods, pelicans, other very much camera related stuff. And then here, it's a great pass-through shelf. These handles on the inside open up these two doors, And this pass-through would be awesome to get your comms from and your radio stuff from. So that part of the build is going to come out here real soon. We were going to put a mini split refrigerant unit in there, but we can't really make it fit. And on that side of the metal is where the diesel filler tank, or the diesel fill tube is that goes into the tank. So I don't want to really mess with that. So we needed a place to put all the equipment. And I didn't really want to cut into these doors. The doors are nice on the ambulance, and they're good and thick, and I didn't want to open it up for, rust and other reasons. So in here, I have cut out, let's actually open up the back of this ambulance. This was wood paneled right here. There was, nothing was here. This was just a box, and I don't know what was in here, like from the use case of the ambulance, but we cut a big hole in this box and then put this U channel, to keep some protection here because the edges are pretty sharp. And then just took a rack and stabbed it in here. And boy, this worked out really, really well. In fact, I've got some plexiglass, some pre-tinted plexi that's going to go in there as a door. But we've got all of our cabling that we're going to use in here, our SDI. And eventually I want to change that. I want to kind of convert this to be a 2110 truck, but I've already got significant investment into SDI systems here. So that's what we'll stick with for now. We drilled a couple of holes up in the top of the box, and I'll show you what these are for. But basically all the cable that needs to come into here does come in through there, and we didn't take anything through the door. That may change as different needs are realized. But for right now, everything is self-contained in this, and more to come, I'm sure. But at the moment, that's how that operates. Down here, this is locked, but this will be where our 1,000-foot tactical fiber comes from. There'll be 12 strands in there. And this side really is just storage. So right now it has boxes in it that look ridiculous. I'm just kind of sorting the truck together right now, but this will be where the main Pelicans go. So cameras and lensing gear and all that stuff will be able to be pulled out from here. The cab, before we go into the box to actually show stuff, I've got all kinds of pulled apart right now, but all of that wiring is basically repaired and works. I'm going to turn that Motorola speaker up there into a program feed, because I've set this up so that if we have to, we can actually put announcers for sports games and stuff in here. We can put a producer and and other kinds of crewing in here. This monitor that's very dusty here is awaiting a mount that I believe arrived today. And it's going to go in here into this RAM mount that I have been sourcing parts for. And I'll have a program monitor up on here. This is the panel that controls the ambulance stuff. And the real reason I needed this is not to put the lights in, though that's cool and a definite benefit, is this actually had the master switch to turn the AC on and off in the box. This module basically disconnects the box and the frame up here, the actual truck. And so I needed this in order to actually make all that stuff work. So that was a expensive purchase, but worth it. Glad I even found one, to be honest with you. There's some other things in this ambulance that are automatic because of the needs that the ambulance had that I'm not going to keep. I'll do something else with them later. A lot of custom stuff, of course, gets put into these ambulances so it can operate as an ambulance, not a production truck. So I'm sure we'll be doing some changes with those things, and I'll update on what that looks like. So let's go into the box. I'll kind of explain how we wired this. So what we've done is this entire ambulance is basically built with like metal struts. It's kind of built like a trailer with this big metal box, and then it is supported with this metal tubing. It's basically just aluminum channel. There's some steel in here as well. And it helps keep it light, but also structurally really strong. And everything is just, welded together. They make a billion of these and they just stick them on ambulances. There's some tubes in this one that went through those channels that connected these two sides. And most of that was used for connecting radio equipment and emergency lighting and stuff. A lot of that I don't need. I still left it in, but there was a lot of space. So we drilled another path and then used the one that was in here, and we pulled all of our cables in here. So we actually pulled some of our cabling through this top channel. And we're going to also use that for RF because there's already RF stuff in there. And then I cut a hole in there, and that's how we're connecting the two sides of the truck. So over here in the graphics area of things where, all of the truck control is and all that, I basically drilled down through this cabinet, right? That's our Cat 5. There's some SDI in there. Here's the 5. I just, kept drilling down through here, and then we covered it with this sound deadening material. And all the cabling that I need for this area lands in here, goes up through there, carries through this channel. Don't worry, I'm not going to just leave that like that. I'll make it all look nice and clean once we're ready to roll here. And then it comes in through here, follows the floor of this shelf, goes down, hits that hole. And then in here, there was actually quite a bit of space to bring cable in. I landed it up in that box. It goes through this channel and then over there to those holes that you saw back in the box. That's how everything comes down into here. So there's a lot more that's going to come into this truck. We'll have our video hub will be in here. There'll be another panel for routing in here. At the moment, we've got our 2ME switcher, our Blackmagic audio monitor. We have all of basically our engineering buttons are sitting up here in this Stream Deck Studio. This is a great power conditioner from radio, but also has a nice little light on the front of it. Completely not like dead on necessary, but super great. A couple of monitors that pull off of the HyperDecks. There's 2 of those. We're using an X32 rack as the mixer, and then an older production intercom box just for an A and a B set. And then this is our input patch for the switcher. This is probably temporary. It's one I already had that I was using for a different project and did for many years. But that's what's in the truck now. It'll probably change to something else. Drawers are going to live down here for storage. And then down there on the bottom is where battery backup's going to be. There's also quite a bit of buzz going in the audio visual world right now about those big batteries that you can carry. They're like $1,200 and they output battery power for quite a long time under some large loads. So I'm really considering putting like 2 or 3 of those in here. That way, under full duress, when this ambulance is completely all the way running, if we were to lose the generator or lose power, we'd at least have an hour's worth of battery on here to be able to continue our stream, continue cutting stuff. And it seems very, very possible with that equipment. So I think we're going to do that. I debated taking these top cubbies out, but I think they're going to work nice for some other storage. So up here, we've got some batteries. Here's the PI comms that we have. Storage over here that I mentioned before. But basically, we tried to keep all of the cabling inside the walls as much as possible to keep stuff off the floor. Now, by the nature of production, that's not going to always happen. There will be some shows I'm sure we'll have to change stuff. In fact, one that we're bidding at right now is actually going to place replay here with a new tech system. And so I don't have the SDI in this spot to be able to do that. So I'm positive we'll have a loom that'll come up here, probably hit this bar, go over here and like a mighty clamp and then drop into this rack. So pretty fun build all the way up until now. We are very close to being able to deploy this, but I think people are sleeping on using an ambulance as a production truck. So if you cut sports, JRM, or any other group that's kind of doing that kind of a thing, if you're cutting local events and you want to run a truck, this is a pretty cheap way to do it. Ambulances show up all the time for not a whole lot of money. A lot of these ambulances, this one's a Type 3. And these are bought by your local city government. These are 200 grand, which is crazy. This is effectively a Ford F-450 with a box on it. And the box doesn't even have that much wiring on it. It's actually not that difficult. I've already been through this ambulance. I could wire one of these with the component list that goes into these. It's not that hard. I wish I was making 200 grand. I bet you if you're cranking out all of these, I bet you're making like well over 80,000 profit on each of these boxes. All that to say, I bet McCoy Miller's doing well as a fab company for these. There's a couple other things that we'll talk about once we do them, but effectively that's the build. And I think that this ambulance is going to serve us really, really well. It's an exciting rig to pull in. We're going to dress up the lights some. We've got a paint scheme ready for it. This white is not going to do. So I do want to wrap this ambulance so that it looks awesome, looks really sharp as we get into venues, you know, and then start doing some stuff with it. So that's the rig. That's the work and time we put into it. It's going to be a fun ride with it. We probably will have this done and on the road ready to cut shows in June, which is like a month from now. Anyway, that's wee woo. Now, as I said, it is May, so we are preparing this property and this building once again for the camp meeting folks that use it once a year. And we're going to take everything out of the warehouse, put pews in it, have them do an event for a week, and then put everything back. It's a monumental amount of effort. And I've got some more of that to do today. So I'll catch y'all in a bit. So another fun thing that we have going on is, in addition to emptying this place out, which if you can't tell, we've already started some of that process. We have a lot of shows in June this year. And our young adults group is actually moving venues in the middle of this and, get this, building a system. Of course, that system will be put together by the guys and me here in the shop. And so we are cramming to get some of that stuff done. But because not all of the funding is available, church stuff, we're going to have to supplement some of this gear that's going to go out for, you know, a little bit. So what we're building is an SQ5. And as of today's date, there are now two SQ5s. One is the original base model. The next one is the SQ5 Plus. We're going to be doing the base model because I'm not spending $5,000 for an SQ5. And we're going to put it in a gator rack and have, you know, some wireless in it, some drawers, build that thing out. And then we will bring in two DX168s, get everything firmware updated, build our show, and then I'll handle a lot of the other stuff that's going to go down for that. We launch June 4th. We have rehearsals on the 26th or 28th of May, something like that. Really, really close. Not a lot of time. So we've actually already emptied out the building that we were in, which is what we used to call Euclid, or it's still Euclid Nazarene. We called it the Euclid campus. So all of these things came from that campus. We have this large drawer, used to be a printer case from HP. I have two of them. We use the stuff in here to sort all the band IEMs, DIs, cable packages, small boom mic stands for the drum kit and all those things. I've got our touring Gretsch kit here, you know, Pearl, kick pedal, got a cymbal package here. And then I've got this clamshell that's basically just for miscellaneous stuff. So we have these things, and we're going to add to this because the venue we were at, we used their in-house X32. That venue didn't have a lot of qualified staff. So they were very nervous about things getting changed and not working for their Sundays, and that's all understandable. So I actually, let me walk over here and get it. Because they were running an X32 compact, I have an S32 digital snake in inventory. So I actually left this down there for a year, and we this made it up the outputs to be the same as theirs. And we basically ran all of our in-ears for this and all of our channels for this. Young Adult Ministry is in between 28 to 31 channels per show. We usually have up to 10 or 11 in-ear outputs all in mono, mostly because of patch limitations on the systems that we run. But especially on the Behringer, there's just not, it's just difficult to do in stereo. So we just do 10 mono outputs for IEMs. And now the building we're going to take our own system. So that platform is going to shift to Allen and Heath, because everything else that we have that's mobile and in corporate is Allen and Heath. We have a D-Live C3500. We have a couple of SQs. We already run a CQ for one of the smaller remotes. So it's a platform that everybody knows. I really like it. Those desks sound good, just stock. You don't have to really do anything to them. So that prep is happening now. We're going to build that actually on the channel and put that system together. It's probably going to be a bunch of videos that are all edited together because we don't have all of the equipment coming at the same time like I would like. But all that to say, it's going to be great. We're going to do that here. That'll be fun. In addition to that, we have a local event here that happens in Meridian, Idaho called Dairy Days. And the production company has reached us yesterday asking if we would help supplement production for that, because they are very busy, which very excited for them. These are friends of ours at Elevate Show Services. You should look them up. Jake and Noah are top tier people. So I've been prepping our festival mic kit. You saw this out last year at the Roaring Spring show that we did. And then we got a bunch of boxes and cable packs and all kinds of things we're putting together for this. I believe we're going to send out a distro for this. We'll send our feeder for this. We actually have some more casing that we're building here in the shop to hold those cable packages. A lot of it's here. So here's one of our feeder trunks. This is our big distro. And then we've also got one more feeder trunk back there. We've also got all of that True One that we built. Really, really, really nice stuff. Stuff I'm incredibly proud of that came out really good. In fact, I'll show you one of the 50s here. No, I won't. I'll show you a small cable because that's what's in front of me. So Matt and I built all of these. True One ends are very expensive. So I like the majority of my cost in this cable, I feel like were the heads. So we are using the NAC3F True One S, which I believe S stands for small conductors. There's, I think, an L for the large ones, but we have the small cable. So we built these. They are heat shrinked with their size and our company name on them. They're just a good looking cable. I'm very proud of these. We basically ordered 2,000 feet of bulk power cable and just started making lines. Which was a huge benefit because we sent out a tour like 2 months ago that basically burned through everything that we had. We've got our stage boxes in for this year for Edison distributed power from True One. And then these little guys, we have 44 of those True One to Edison boxes. So those come in big time handy when we're doing mobile stages. You know, chuck a box on the end of a line, throw it and go. You don't have to have them pre-built. You can pack them in a truck really nice. And that's a huge benefit. So we'll probably have those out on this show too. This is a festival stage. We're using an SL100 for that. And PA is undecided, but I think the rest of it is something that we'll supply on. So it should be a fun show. And then look at this all chaotic mess over here. We have to get all of this out in like the next week and a half. So we got a lot of work to do. The choir risers have to go. Believe it or not, all of that is carpet. We have to roll all of that out and cover this floor in it. And all of those pews have to go here. You're not going to believe it when we're done. We'll do a time lapse of us putting it together. It's just a monster effort that we put in to turn this sucker around. And then over here, we have to get rid of all this stuff too, like all of our tools, and all of this has to go. I've got this area that we call quick pull. It's where we pull all of our small stuff, gaff, mighty clamps, utility mic clamps for broadcast, quick HDMIs, video converters, general mic clips. I have like 100 30 sitting in that box. All kinds of crap that's over here. These things, all these new boxes that I've put in together, all of this has to go. So a lot of work ahead and a lot of work to do today, but it is 11:35. I have a site visit in a little over an hour, so I'm going to keep working, get some stuff done here, and then start heading downtown. Okay, so some of the things that I received. Here is a Ram Mounts 100 by 100 millimeter VESA plate because I was stupid and ordered 75. And we've got two 40 gigabyte Thunderbolt 4 cables, which I need for the graphics rig. Right now I'm going HDMI to USB-C, or rather USB-C to HDMI out of the computer into some 6G converters to SDI. 6G converters get hot. So instead, I actually do have two Blackmagic video monitors, the little, guys that are just almost effectively small GPUs. That's what they are. And I would much prefer that. So I am going to do that. And I've got these BNC tees here that are 75 ohms because I'm splitting a couple of the outputs from the switcher to go into both a multi-view and into the patch panel. And some other BNC tees that I had would allow one signal to pass, but not two. I don't know the science behind that. I'm sure it's me splitting. Actually, I don't know. I'm sure it just doesn't work on purpose. So I'm going to go fix those problems right now and put this into the rack and get this stuff built. So I've already come up on my first problem, and so far these seem to be passing signal fine. But if you look at the decimator output over here, I only get output on this if I plug the SDI into this monitor. The moment I disconnect it, I don't get any output on this over here. Okay, so to actually explain what happened here, turns out if you take a 75 ohm BNC connector and you split it, you are effectively dropping this unit down to 37.5 ohms and not 75 ohms. What devices are looking for is for that clock signal to stay uninterrupted. And so if you plug in a BNC from an output source and you connect one device, the termination actually is made. But what I was trying to do was leave output 2 in the patch panel. So I could patch basically one output from the matrix to two different places. The first place being an input to a multi-viewer that goes to that TV, but also routing that same output over to the panel. The goal of this was I could still have those outputs available on my TV panel, even though they were going to the multi-view. The multi-view that I'm using is a decimator Demon Quad, and it only has the 4 inputs. It doesn't, repeat them back as outputs, only in the form of the final image of that multi-view. So this did not work. So therefore, by putting the SDI cables back into the patch panel, into the last 4 inputs of the switcher, that was enough to terminate the 75 ohm BNC connector. So I can solve this problem later by using an actual video hub, which is not in the truck at the moment. So when I complete that, this won't be an issue anymore. So if you're splitting SDI 75 ohm BNC ends and they're not, there's no way for that signal to terminate, you're going to have a problem. To get around this, I bought some 75 ohm basically termination ends. I'm going to screw into those and basically get rid of the reflections that are coming back on the end of that line. And that's going to solve this problem for me.